This segment of the Alice Stewart Show is brought to you by Aero Plumbing. For all your household or business plumbing needs, call Aero Plumbing at 1-866-PLUMBER or schedule an appointment online at aeroplumbing.net.
And we are back on the Alice Stewart Show, 7:35, 25 minutes before 8 o'clock. I hope everyone has their Christmas shopping done and ready to relax and spend time with your friends and family. Laurie Lee joins us in studio, Republican consultant and strategist. Great to have you here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Good to be here.
And your mom always listens from Texas, and she's in town. Is she listening this morning?
I think she is, although my phone hasn't blown up. So I've been being good, evidently.
You're minding your P's and Q's.
I know. Because it's my last day on the Alice Stewart Show.
It is your last day.
Ever.
I've only got a few more days, too. That'll be exciting.
I'm so excited for you.
I'm
Congratulations.
Excited. It's going to be a great new year. We'll talk about that shortly. I want to continue the conversation we're having about Ferguson and New York and the latest incident with the assassination virtually of 2 New York City police officers and how this has all unfolded. And what has happened is, in light of the shooting in Ferguson, the no indictment by the police officer. Same in New York City. The guy died after being in a chokehold by police. No indictment. The president and Eric Holder, led by Al Sharpton, encouraging folks to speak out and speak their mind. The mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, encouraging folks. He even said he has a biracial child, and he says he's had to speak with his child about dealing with police officers because he understood that his son would be targeted by police. It has created an atmosphere of anti-police sentiment. Do you agree?
Absolutely. It's egregiously irresponsible, and I cannot fathom what the president and Eric Holder and the mayor can possibly conceive would be a positive outcome of what they're doing.
And having spent years of my career as a news reporter and anchor, dealing with police officers every single day and seeing and knowing what they do, putting their lives on the line, it has to be so difficult for them to have elected officials. When all of this came about, Bill de Blasio's response was, we need to teach law enforcement officers how to deal with our citizens. We need to instruct law enforcement how to better respond. And instead of encouraging people how to respond with law enforcement, here's Bill de Blasio after all this came about. Now he is blaming members of the media.
The few who want conflict attempt that. And unfortunately, so many times you guys enable that.
So the Mayor de Blasio of New York, after he has encouraged protests and after he has had people march through his streets saying, what do we want? Dead cops. When do we want them now? And not doing anything. He's blaming the media for covering it.
Well, again, these people are masters at debacle, at detraction, distortion, and making things seem as though they aren't. They go in, they cause havoc, and then they make things to where it's unfathomable what they're thinking. I mean, how can the President of the United States and the Attorney General possibly justify their actions in these situations? And Alice, let's be clear. This stuff started way back with the Rutgers incident, and the I forgot the thing that happened before that was another cop situation. My head's
there was the one that led to the beer summit.
Yeah, and so you're thinking, what are you thinking? What could your end game possibly be? And there's a passage in the Bible that talks about people in positions of leadership and them using their leadership to ill will, and the fact that they will pay tenfold for deceiving people. And you know what? I'm telling you what, you can say a lot of things, but biblical law is just like physical law. It's just like the law of gravity. You cannot believe in it, but you walk off this building and you're going to hit the ground. I'm
really surprised, though, having watching and reading a lot of the fallout from this tragedy in New York, is that the New York police commissioner Bill Bratton has not been very outspoken against the mayor for the way he has treated police officers. He actually defended him. Here's New York City Police Commissioner Bill Bratton yesterday.
The experience of this mayor, in terms of some cops not liking him, is nothing new. It's part of life. It's part of politics. And it is what it is. This is New York City.
So he says this is normal. I don't.
It is normal for cops to be executed in their squad car. I'm sorry, from a guy who tweeted out, "I'm going to make pigs fly," and I'm going to make pigs in the blanket. That is not normal. And if it is normal, we have got bigger problems than we ever imagined.
And I think it's a situation to where someone needs to step in and lead, bringing people together, lead and encouraging people to support our law enforcement officers. But we just had Todd Starnes on the program talking about a situation that was reported on CNN where people were having a memorial, a prayer vigil for these officers, and protesters came in and were harassing police officers at a memorial for these police officers. And
that's disgusting.
There's no place for that, and it has to stop. And I completely understand why the police officers the other night, when the mayor was going to visit the officers in the hospital, they turned their back on him.
Absolutely. So it's okay for these thugs to stand in the street and scream for police officers to be slain, executed, and murdered, but it's not okay for police officers who are the target of this vehemence to turn their back on the guy who's inciting the riot. What are people thinking? I just don't understand. And to the point of conciliatoriness, it's the responsibility of each individual, whether you're a liberal or a conservative, whether you're a Christian or a Catholic or a Muslim or whatever your religion, or if you're black or you're white or you're Indian, it's incumbent on you and your family to make sure that you've got it to say, you know what, I'm not going to play in this. I am not going to be a party to this in this country. We have worked too hard and too long to get things where they are today, and shame on the people that are trying to make these things, that are trying to abate us against each other with regards to economic status or politics or race. You know what? I am an outspoken, shy and demure person, as you know, Alice.
What?
I'm just
not you.
I'm just saying I believe in saying one's piece and putting it out there and working for what you believe in. But I have been in the military. I have been in harm's way. I have been in a theater, not on the front line, of course, but in a place where there were people who wanted to do bad things to other people, and that is not a place that people want to be.
No.
And you know what? You better get it together, friends, and you better make sure your house is in order, and let's get things going in this country, and do not allow people that are trying to separate us and bait each other against each other, give them any more power.
And I think that's so critical, and I think that's the key here is we need to support our law enforcement officers. When we all call 911, they show up, and they do that and risk their lives every day for us, and we need to make sure and keep that first and foremost. And do want to tell folks there's going to be actually a moment of silence tomorrow, Christmas Eve at noon, wherever you are. Take a moment of silence and think of these police officers and think of the sacrifices they give and their families give. It's a special time to reflect on all that has developed and all that has transpired. So tomorrow at noon, it's a special time it's a memorial moment that will be tomorrow at noon to remember these officers and all law enforcement officers who are grieving. This segment of the Alice Stewart Show brought to you by Arrow Plumbing. For all of your household or business plumbing needs, call Arrow Plumbing at 1-866-PLUMBER, or you can schedule an appointment online at arrowplumbing.net.